AI agents and agentic AI. Here is the difference in two sentences. An AI agent is a piece of software, a language model connected to tools, running a loop that completes a task on its own. Agentic AI is a description of degree, how much the system can do without a person approving each step. So one is a noun, an actual system with parts you can point at and check. The other is an adjective, a claim about autonomy that needs to be verified. If the grammar feels abstract, think of how we describe colleagues. Assistant is a job title. Someone either has that job or does not. A mandate is what you give the person in that job, how much they may decide and do on their own, and a colleague can have a wider or narrower one. AI agent is a job title. Agentic describes the mandate. That is the whole distinction. And in this video, I explain both halves properly and then show you the difference on screen in tools many offices already use. We take it in 4 steps. First, what an AI agent actually is, the parts it is built from, and the loop it runs. Then what agentic means and why it is a matter of degree. Then we watch the difference on screen, a normal chat assistant next to 2 agents working on their own. And finally, what this changes in practice for you and your colleagues. Let us start with the noun. An AI agent is a system built around a language model that runs in a loop. If you are unsure what a language model actually is, I explained that from the ground up in my video, What is AI? For this video, it is enough to know that the model is the part that reads, decides, and writes. You give the agent a goal. The model reads the goal, decides on a first step, and uses a tool to carry that step out. A tool can be a web search, a file system, a spreadsheet, an email account, and a browser. The model then reads the result of that action, decides what the next step is, and continues until the goal is done or it hits a limit. That loop is the whole definition. A goal goes in, then a repeating cycle of decide, act, read the result, decide again. If you have seen my earlier video on AI agents for business people, this is the delegation frame in one line. You are not chatting with the system, you're handing it a task that it completes on your behalf. The parts of that loop have names you'll meet in real products. The connections into your systems are called tools or connectors. The setting where a chatbot is allowed to run this loop is usually called agent mode. And the safety valve, the point where the system stops and asks a person before doing something hard to reverse, is called an approval step, or human in the loop. 2 things follow directly from the definition. First, an agent is only as useful as the tools it can reach. A model without connections can produce a plan, but it cannot carry anything out. Second, an agent makes errors with the same full confidence a chatbot does, except that an agent error becomes an action, not just an incorrect answer in a chat window. That is why the approval step exists. So that is the noun, a concrete architecture with a model, a loop, tools, and stopping rules. You can point a product and check whether those parts are there. Now for the adjective. Agentic AI is not a product. It is an adjective, and it describes a degree, not a category. A system is more agentic the more of these 4 things it does on its own. It plans several steps ahead. It chooses and uses tools. It checks and corrects its own results, and it acts without a person clicking approve at every step. That makes agentic a spectrum, and most products sit somewhere in the middle. A chatbot that answers questions is barely agentic. The same chatbot with a connector into your inbox, able to send an email directly from the conversation, has some agentic capability. A system that runs your weekly reporting unattended, pulls the data, drafts the report, and files it is highly agentic. It is the same underlying technology at different degrees of autonomy. This is also why the border between chatbot and agent is dissolving. Agentic capabilities arrive as feature updates inside tools companies already license. ChatGPT can send an email directly from chat. Cloud and Copilot 365 ship connectors into calendars, files, and business systems. No one bought a separate agent product. The existing chat tool gained agentic capabilities through an update. So when you read agentic AI in a product description or a company announcement, it can mean the system generally has a degree of autonomy, or it can mean an existing product has been relabeled. The word alone does not tell you which, because an adjective has no minimum requirement. There is no authority that certifies a product as agentic. Anyone can use that word. So the two terms separate clearly. An AI agent is a noun, an actual architecture with parts you can point at. Agentic is an adjective, a claim about a degree of autonomy that may be accurate or may be marketing. The clearest way to see the difference is to watch it, so that is what we do next. First, a normal chat assistant. I ask, it answers. The answer can be good, and I can ask follow-up questions. But everything that happens with that answer is my work. If it needs to be sent, saved, or entered somewhere, I do that myself. The model never leaves the chat window. On the scale from the last chapter, this is the low end. Now, an agent working in the browser, in this case as an extension. I have handed it a task and given it access to Chrome. Here you see it compare cat color prices for me online. You can see it open pages, reads them, then clicks and types on its own. Nobody is steering it between these steps. This is the loop from the first chapter running in front of you. Decide, act, read the result, decide again. You see the agent in action, starting with the creation of a plan and asking for my approval. The result in this case is an Excel file with the colors and their prices. I could, however, have chosen to give the agent the direction to also place an order, which it would if I gave it that autonomy and my credit card information. I could also make this into a weekly, automatic, and fully autonomous workflow. And here's an agent working across files instead of a browser. In this case, you see it use my marketing statistics CSV file to analyze my marketing efforts and produce a report dashboard. The pattern is the same. It plans the steps, opens what it needs, and produces a finished result that are reviewed at the end, instead of me doing every step with a helper. And notice the chat output. It looks exactly like what you are used to from a normal chat assistant. The difference is that this one has been granted access to some of my folders and asked to complete a task on its own, not just to answer me. The window looks the same. What changed is what it is allowed to reach and what it is allowed to do. 3 recordings, 3 points on the same scale. The chat assistant answers and the agent acts. So what does this change for you at work? 3 things. The first is your part of the task. With a chat assistant, you do the work and the model helps. It drafts, you adjust, you send. With an agent with agentic capabilities, the order turns around. The system does the work, and your part becomes the review. You look at what it did and check it, the same way you would check work from a new colleague. The second is what an error looks like. A chat model that is wrong gives you a wrong answer, and you catch it while reading. An agent that is wrong performs a wrong action. An email has gone out, a file has changed. That is why agents in a workplace come with approval steps, limited access, and logs. And why it is reasonable to ask which of your systems a new tool can actually reach before you hand it anything important. In the language from the start of the video, the access and the approval steps are the agent's mandate, and someone at your workplace decides how wide it is. The third is that you will often not choose the moment these types of functionalities arrive. As we saw, agentic capabilities appear as updates inside tools your company already has. One day, the chat window at work has an agent mode. When that happens, you know that what changed is not the intelligence, but the autonomy. Let us walk back through what we covered. We started with the noun. An AI agent is a concrete system, a language model running in a loop, receiving a goal, choosing tools, acting, reading the results, and continuing until the task is done. The parts carry names you will meet in real tools. Tools and connectors for the connections, agent mode for the loop, approval steps for the points when it must ask a person. And because an agent error becomes an action rather than just an incorrect answer, the review step is part of the design. Then the adjective. Agentic describes a degree of autonomy. How much a system plans, uses tools, corrects itself, and acts without approval at each step. It is a matter of degree. Most tools sit somewhere in the middle, and agentic capabilities increasingly arrive as updates inside tools workplaces already use. No authority certifies the word agentic AI. So on its own, it guarantees nothing. Then we watch the difference. A chat assistant that answers while the person does everything with the answer, and 2 agents that carry out tasks on their own, in the browser and across files, with the person reviewing at the end. And finally, what it changed at work. Your part shifts from doing the task with help to reviewing a task that was done. Errors become actions rather than wrong answers. and the shift often arrives as an update in a tool you already have. If this video made the terms agentic AI and AI agents clear, a like and subscribe helps other people find the video. And if you want the practical follow-up, my video on setting up autonomous AI agents safely covers approval steps and access in detail. See you in the next one.